Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to lesson 4.12, where we are going to learn how to solve multi-step division problems. Please turn in your Go Math book to page 91, and let's write our essential question at the top. How do I use the four operations to solve problems with more than one step? Go ahead and write that question now in your Go Math book. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to model how to solve a multi-step division problem. This problem is not in your Go Math book, so just watch as I solve it. Lucia and her dad will prepare corn for a community picnic. There are 3 bags of corn. Each bag holds 32 ears of corn. When the corn is cooked, they want to divide the corn equally among 8 serving plates. How many ears of corn should they put on each of 8 serving plates? The first thing I need to figure out is how many ears of corn I have altogether. I notice this word each, which tells me that I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply 32 times 3 to find out how many ears of corn I have in all. So 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 96 ears of corn altogether that I need to divide among 8 serving plates. So I'm going to divide 96 by 8. Now 96 is a pretty big dividend, and I don't really want to draw that many counters. So I think I will use long division to solve. When I use long division to divide, I'm going to take my divisor and try to divide it into my first digit in my dividend, which is 9. I know that 8 can go into 9 one time, so I'll put a 1 right here. Now 1 times 8 is 8, and when I subtract, I have 1 left over, which is less than my divisor. So I'm good to go ahead and bring down the 6, which now I have 16. So now I'm going to start the steps all over again of long division. I know that 16 divided by 8 is 2. Now I'll multiply. 2 times 8 is 16. And when I subtract, I do not have a remainder. So the question is asking, how many ears of corn should they put on each of the 8 serving plates? And the answer is 12. My quotient is 12. So they will put 12 ears of corn on each serving plate. All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and take a look at page 91 and look at number 2 with me. If you'll put a circle around number 2, we're going to work that one out together. It says there are 8 pencils in a package. How many packages will be needed for 28 children if each child gets 4 pencils? The first thing that I'll want to do is go back into my story problem and identify my key numbers and words. The first thing that I notice is that we have 8 pencils in a package, or per package. Then this story problem tells me that there are going to be 28 children who get 4 pencils each. The first thing that I'll want to do is I'll want to multiply 28 times 4. This is going to tell me how many pencils altogether I need, so that each child can actually have 4 pencils. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 8, which I know is 32. I'm going to put my 2 here like this and regroup my 3. Then I need to divide 4 times 2, which is 8, plus the 3, which is 11. So I need a grand total of 112 pencils for each child to have 4 pencils each. But the question was asking me, how many packages will I need? So I want to divide 112 by 8. So I'm going to go ahead and get started dividing to find my quotient, to find my final answer. Okay, so I know 8 goes into 1 0 times, so I'm going to put a 0 right here. The next thing that I do is I'm going to look at the 11 because I'm going to divide 8 into 11, which I know 8 goes into 11 one time. Now I'm going to multiply. So 1 times 8 is 8. And I'm going to subtract the 8 from the 11. When I subtract 8 from 11, I get 3. And I'm checking to make sure that this digit is less than my divisor, which it is. So I'm going to go ahead now and bring down my 2. Now I'm going to do my steps all over again, and I'm going to divide 8 into 32, which goes 4 times. And now I'm ready to go ahead and multiply 4 times 8, which I know is 32, and I will subtract. And I have no remainder. So my quotient is 14. If I go back into the story problem, I see that they were asking how many packages will I need. So for each of the 28 children to have 4 pencils each, I will need 14 packages of pencils. All right, boys and girls, let's take a look at problem number 3 in your Go Math book. This problem says there are 3 boxes of tangerines. Each box has 93 tangerines. The tangerines will be divided equally among 9 classrooms. How many tangerines will each classroom get? So the first thing that I notice is that I've got 3 boxes. So I want to underline that as my keyword and number. Then I see that I've got 93 tangerines in each box. So I want to multiply 93 times 3. This will tell me how many tangerines I have altogether. I'm going to multiply 3 times 3, which is 9. And then I'm going to multiply 3 times 9, which is 27. So altogether, I have 279 tangerines. But the story problem is asking me to divide those equally among 9 classrooms. So I want to set up my division problem, and I'm going to divide 279 by 9. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 9 into my very first digit, which is 2. And I know that that does not go into 2. 9 cannot be divided into 2. So I'm going to put a 0 right here. And so I'm just going to look now at my next 2 digits. So I'm looking at 27. I know that 9 divided into 27 is 3. So now I'm ready to multiply. 3 times 9 is 27. And when I subtract, I get 0, which is less than my divisor. So I'm good to bring down my next number, which is 9. Now I'm going to start my steps all over again. So I will divide 9 into 9, which goes 1 time. And now I will multiply 1 times 9, which is 9. And now I'm ready to subtract. And I have no remainder. So my story problem was asking, how many tangerines will each classroom get? And the answer is each classroom will get 31 tangerines. All right, let's take a look at one last problem together. We've got number 4. So it says Misty has 84 photos from her vacation and 48 photos from a class outing. She wants to put all the photos in an album with 4 photos on each page. How many pages does she need? The first thing that I notice is this word and. That word and tells me that I'm going to combine my photos. So I'm going to use addition to find out how many photos I have altogether. So I'm going to add 84 plus 48. Now when I add, I'm going to need to regroup. 8 plus 4 is 12. I'll put my 2 here and regroup the 1 above my 8. Now 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 4 is 13. So Misty has 132 photos altogether. The story problem is asking me to divide those photos into photo album pages, 4 photos on each page. So I'm going to divide 132 by 4. Now the first thing that I see is I'm going to divide 4 into 1, which cannot do, so I'm going to put a 0 right here. Then I will look at the next 2 digits, so I'm looking at 4 and how many times it will go into 13, which is 3. So I'm going to put a 3 right here. Now I know that the next thing I'll need to do is multiply 3 times 4, which is 12. And now I'm ready to subtract. And 13 take away 12 is 1, which is less than my divisor. So I'm ready to go ahead and bring down my next number, which is 2. And now I will begin the steps all over again. So it says 4 into 12 goes 3 times. And now I will multiply 3 times 4 is 12. And when I subtract, I have no remainder. So the story problem was asking how many pages does Misty need? And she needs 33 pages for all of her pictures. All right, boys and girls, take a look at page 92 in your Go Math book, and let's take a look at your homework for tonight. You are going to be doing all the problems on this page, and I want to go ahead and get you started on number 1 and 2. Number 1 says, Gavin buys 89 blue pansies and 86 yellow pansies. He will plant the flowers in 5 rows with an equal number of plants in each row. How many plants will be in each row? The first thing that I notice is this word and. It tells me that I want to combine blue and yellow pansies to find out how many pansies in all. So I'm going to use addition. I'm going to add 89 plus 86 to find out how many pansies there are altogether. Once I find out how many pansies I have altogether, I will then want to divide by 5 to find out how many plants will be in each row. Let's go ahead now and take a look at number 2. It says a pet store receives 7 boxes of cat food, and each box has 48 cans. The store wants to store the cans in equal stacks of 8 cans. How many stacks can be formed? The first thing that I notice is this word each. That tells me that I need to multiply to find out how many cans of food that I have. So I'm going to multiply 48 times 7, and this will tell me how many cans of cat food I have in all. Now, once I find out how many cans of cat food I have altogether, then I will be able to divide by 8 to find out how many stacks can be formed. Now, please be sure tonight to show your work and solve all the problems on page 92. Make sure to assess yourself, work very hard, and I will see you bright and early in the morning.